Hello everyone and welcome back as we get into the last best of one of the day, Hugo. That actually is probably the most exciting game out of a lot of them when you think about it.
Yeah, we've got a completely unknown team, a new roster on the OpTic side at least, having a couple of changes, getting rid of the North Americans, bringing in the Europeans. I think it's a good change in my opinion. But we're going to see here live on LAN and up against no other than the best team in Denmark, Astralis.
Yeah, it's very true. The Danish demolition that is about to occur should really be filled with a lot of excitement and a lot of tears from North American fans for the side of OpTic. But I feel like it actually will be quite a fun matchup between these two sides. There's a lot to play for. And once we get through that veto as well, that's going to be what's interesting. The creme de la creme is where they'll be playing this one out, as both of these sides have a lot to prove, really. I mean, Astralis, the strong favourite when you think about it, but OpTic, they're a team that want to come into this. They want to have a bit of a swagger. They need to kind of crip walk into the server and deal damage.
The thing is about this OpTic lineup is it's actually a really good lineup.
Yeah.
I wanted this from the very start. When I heard OpTic we're getting these three Danish players, I was like, just make it full Danish. Just bring in everyone. It will solve all communication issues. You'll have, in some sense, players that have played together before. They'll have some synergy, etc. And it's just a better idea overall. And I'm glad they finally at least made that decision. And they pulled in, Yugi as well is definitely going to be someone to watch out for. And I think this team could actually do very well. But of course, you've got to also take into account this is their first LAN with this lineup, right? I don't want to look into this too deeply. If they get absolutely destroyed and go out with 0 wins this event, I go, oh well, wait till next time. We'll see what next time. But for now, yeah, this could be fun. If they can upset or if they can get a close game and show that they have the potential to be, a top tier Danish team, that would be really nice to see.
I think that's the thing, is there's a lot of unanswered questions with this roster, which is the reason why it's so interesting. We actually do have the veto for this matchup as well, so we can try and break that down. And one of the reasons for me that I'm kind of confused is I want to see how Wodjuka performs, just because it's been so long since we've really seen him, because obviously there was the long stint where he was away because of health issues in Heroic. Then when he finally returned, it was only really a brief period. Now finally in OpTic, I want to see that Yugi, man. I want a bit of Yugi action.
Yeah, again, like star for the team, star player for Heroic without a doubt, and now we're going to be able to see him up against some of the best in the world here. Mike cutting out, we do.
Yeah,
there we go.
That would probably be the issue.
Magic. That would be the fact that my chair is on the cough button. Love it.
That would probably do it.
We do have the veto though. Let's talk about that. Mirage going straight away for Astralis. Not a big surprise in the sense, very puggy map, very simple map to play for a new roster. Inferno and Overpass definitely more strategical maps, and obviously ones that Astralis have proven to be very strong on as of late as well, going for OpTic. So no big surprises so far. Jackie, could we be seeing the Nuke game, the Danish map? That's what we're waiting for.
Well, it seems like it, as it is actually going to be a Nuke affair between these two squads. You guys, the rest of the bands come through. This is spicy.
I like this.
Yeah, this could actually be quite a fun matchup. I mean, for the Danish fans at home and everyone watching around the world, this is really going to be a good display. I feel like not only just for OpTic coming into this one, but just purely for the amount of CS we're going to see going into this. This does provide for possibly the best matchup between these two teams I think we could have asked for today.
Oh yeah, for sure. I wouldn't have wanted any other map, of course. And I'm really excited to see this OpTic roster at least perform, not just here but in the long term, right? Because we can kind of look at them and we can go, this could potentially be our second best Danish team, right? With North, I would say in disarray at the moment. Look at that team. I mean, they've been having so many struggles. Like, lands they should be winning, like Betsnats, where they're losing out second place to Hellraisers, and also, so we saw Copenhagen Games home soil. They failed there, third and fourth, falling out to Imperial. North not having the placing we expect of them. And I think they came 9th in the regular season of Pro League as well. So yeah, really underwhelming, at least with this recent roster, with the addition of both Mertz and Kierby as well coming in from Astralis. So maybe there's a slot here for OpTic to take. Maybe they can be that second best, or even, big prediction, best team in Denmark. You never know.
That's true. Well, if they are going to become the best team in Denmark, they have to beat the big dogs themselves in Astralis straight away, and that is going to be their first matchup here. And that's a hard one to face for OpTic, really, is the first game going into this LAN. A best of one versus Astralis. The only thing is, obviously, a best of one, you do have the potential upset factor. There's a ton of unknown quantities with OpTic. They're not really a team that you can prepare against because there physically isn't much there.
Yeah, again, it's kind of what we talked about with the MVP Na'Vi game, right? No one's going to be prepping for MVP in the sense that, you've got bigger fish to fry. And it's the same story for this. Not only will people not be prepping for OpTic, but they physically can't.
There's nothing there.
There's nothing there. So, I'm so excited again. It's good to see the fact that OpTic are here, obviously, due to their performance, at least, that was very strong in the regular season with the three-man core that still currently stands. And, of course, with Shazam and Stanislaw as well, they're making their way to the final. And then this roster, at least, getting to play it is actually really exciting. exciting. So, you know, first official straight into LAN, straight into top tier CS, and straight against, you know, I think at the moment we could argue Astralis are the best team in the world. It's hard to say because we've not had like multiple events back to back where they're winning, but at least off of recent events they're looking really, really good. But you know, we kind of have to give it a bit more time to solidify that as a guarantee. Like, this is definitely the best team in the world. You know, when you win back-to-back majors, that's a guarantee. But Astralis are yet to really do that. So we've got to see if this team can continue in their stride. And definitely with an event like this, where we have, as we've been talking about, a lot of teams in the midst of roster changes, in the midst of inconsistencies, a good chance for Astralis to come out in first or second place and take the victory here in Dallas.
I think it's definitely the fact as well that this is just an unknown OpTic going up against an Astralis that right now is in a very good form. That's the sort of main point. Depending on, you know, how this is going to continue and how the results will come in will give us a good overarching view as the months go by. But in terms of just form, everyone's looking pretty comfortable right now. The issues that were there seem to have been removed and sorted. Everything seems to have finally really clicked into place for Astralis. The stars have aligned for them.
Yeah, and again, when you look at this map, at least for Nuke, it's something I'm kind of interested in the sense that, you know, when you have a new roster and you go straight into a Nuke game, a lot of people will go, oh, what is going on there? Like, that's one of the hardest maps to play as a team. It's not a map where, you know, individual performance shines and you can kind of carry a game in the same way you can on a Cash or Mirage. But if you look at the players that we have in these rosters, we have players that are known for their Nuke play. We have a couple of guys from Heroic, we have Snappy and Yugi, again, a team that constantly played that map. We have, you know, obviously OpTic in the regular season with the 3-man core played this map as well when it came down to Pro League and other events. We saw this originally Danish North American mix play. So yeah, when it comes to Nuke, I don't think OpTic are at some kind of severe disadvantage due to the map, and I wouldn't come into this game going, you know, I'm not sure they can handle this.
Oh no.
Like, I think this is one of the better, of course Astralis are good at it, but it's one of the better maps for OpTic, at least coming into this game, that they could surprise on and they could bring in something new.
Well, that's the thing. Behind the scenes, you wonder how much really preparation they've been able to achieve on it and how confident they've been in it in practice. But if you look at it really just in terms of lineup and you just sort of assume, right, what can these players actually bring to the table here on a map like Nuke? There's a lot of strengths they can lean to. There's a whole ton of damage, and as well, that's one of the factors why it's actually cool to see the fact that obviously when Yugi finally returned, obviously it was only a very, very brief stint where he actually played in Heroic again before he finally was announced that this is what it was all building up towards and this is going to be his new home for a while. But it's exciting because he's been such a big talent in the Danish scene. He's been such a superstar AWPer, but it seems like he'd always sort of struggled to get those chances. Finally got into Heroic and then obviously sort of tapered off for a little bit. We didn't see him for a while. Now he's back, and in theory, this is where he should be better than ever.
Yeah, in a team that can replicate his performance, right? Because we look at him in Heroic, and not to necessarily say Heroic is a bad team, but you know, he was without a doubt the best player there. Now we come into a team that is not only filled with experience, but also filled with firepower. We look at Config, we look at Cajun. It's got the cooling from Snappy that Yugi is used to, obviously having just come from Heroic recently. So, you know, everything's set up in terms of all the pieces are there. We just need to give it time to gel and see if they can continue as we expect them to do so. But kind of flipping the script a little bit, moving over to Astralis, I don't think we need to give them too much of an introduction. You all know them, you all love them. But I would say that, in my opinion, post-roster changes, we look at the major and all the roster changes that came about that time, this is, in my opinion, the most successful roster change. Bringing Magiska into this lineup, getting rid of Kirby. Magiska's been, you know, the star player for this team in some of the recent events that they've been and just been putting up insane numbers. So, yeah, without a doubt, in my opinion, the most successful roster change currently in the 2018, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely worked out well for the roster. Obviously, Astralis have been looking really better than ever in terms of form overall. It's been working well. They're a well-oiled machine, and they've got kind of everything they need now, really. Stability has been found, and that's why going into it, it's exciting, because it kind of is known quantity. It's what we know and what we expect from Astralis versus what could be quite unorthodox and quite aggressive, really, from a team like OpTic, because there's a ton of talent there. It's the fact that when these two teams go head-to-head, it's really going to be the clash of the Danish Titans in terms of individual CS. And you can see that just by the names you've got on there. Players like Cajun, Config, when you just look through, immediately you think of the history some of these players have. The fact that all of them now being together in this one roster, it provides for so much more, especially for someone like Yugi as well. The amount that can now aid to him coming into that, where all of a sudden he's now surrounded by all these other players that are on that extra tier above, bringing him up to that extra level, you provide you so much more insight, a wealth of extra experience that really sets them up to actually find a lot of success if they can gel as a 5.
I have no expectation coming into this game for OpTic, but I do hope to see something good. If they bomb out you know, so be it, and we'll move on. But I think we're getting straight into this one at the very least with the knife round. Again, very important on Nuke. You, of course, want to start on that CT side. It is going to be far more favourable. And, you know, we'll just jump right into this, have a look, see who's going where. I want to see OpTic's T side more so than their CT side, in the sense I want to see what that executes and if they have something at least impressive and surprising, something new to bring to the table here on Nuke.
Well, that's where they're going to be able to play a little bit more of a looser side CS as well and actually set the tempo. And that is the sort of players they are on the OpTic side. They're someone that wants to be quite aggressive and set the tempos. This knife round does actually carry a lot of weight behind it, as we will eventually get through it. It's like a night out in South London. Eventually it will finish up. It's going on for a while, this one.
Body strewn all over the floor, but Gay does have more HP. However, it won't matter because it's a one right click for either. So device, you have 60 minutes. I'd prefer if you didn't use it all, and maybe we'll get this one on the road pretty quick.
There we go.
We'll be Gay. So OpTic gonna start on that CT side. I don't really, no problem with that. Of course, you know, that's going to give them a bit of a chance to start off this map on good footing and an innate advantage as well, which is nice for an underdog. Yeah,
it's true. It's more stability really rather than the unknown factor, but it's also, it bodes well, Hugo, if they get this going with a good start on their CT side. Because then you move on to that T side, already you're warm, you can don that AK, you can be able to find some crisp headshots, just roll through with it. And as well, CT side with Yugi, that's where he's really going to be able to just unleash once he has that AWP in his hands.
Yeah, I'm excited for the setups as well, right? Where are we going to see Yugi? Is he going to be back towards the yard like he was in Heroic? Are we going to see him thrown over towards the ramp? You know, as soon as they get that AWP in their hands on the CT side, when Astralis, you know, before they have one, if we see OpTic kick off the map in their favor with that pistol, things could really start to kind of like snowball out of control for Astralis. You could definitely see an opportunity for OpTic to kind of get a bit of an early streak on the board, and that's what I want here. I want an upset. I want OpTic to come into this event hot, looking good, and impress us. Because, hey, you never know, we could just see a best of one and a best of three, and they could go home, and we'd have to wait a whole couple months till we really see, you know, this team having a good chance at a LAN like this again. Yeah,
well, that's the thing, because it is quite a big endeavor, really. The fact the first time we're actually really going to see them get to do anything at all is on LAN, is at the Season 7 finals live in Dallas. It's the fact that it's all these caveats added to it that makes it so much more interesting going into that first game of really their career as this new roster, which is actually going to make it quite a monumental one to watch, depending on how this goes. That's why you can expect nothing but hope for greatness from them, really, is the potential there going into it. Because obviously, Astralis, they're a team that are a cut above. When you look at it into the Danish scene as well, these players are going to know each other in and out quite well on an individual level, and that's why it makes it so interesting.
That's the crazy thing as well. Like, let's look at how much talent we have in Denmark. Let's look at how many top-tier teams we have. You know, you can make jokes about teams not being consistent or whatever, but at the end of the day, if we have, you know, in the top 30, 3, 4, 5 Danish teams, that is insane. Like, Fraxes, again, another Danish team that have been showing so much resilience recently. They came into Betsnet. They had multiple upsets there. They were winning series over Gambit. They beat VP. You know, this is pretty crazy to see the amount of young talent we have rising up in the Danish scene. And, of course, it bodes well for potentially, not that I want roster changes, but for future roster changes for both the likes of Astralis, for OpTic, for North, to bring in these upcoming stars, to bring in these new talented players that the scene is producing. So yeah, there's definitely a good opportunity to see some more, you know, top tier teams come about. But we are jumping into this one straight away. We're into Nuke here. OpTic kicking things off on the CT side in the first map, the only map in fact, best of one. Winner of this going to be going forward to the winners bracket, and loser may even be going home, but that will all be decided later. We're jumping right into the pistol round. Jackie, Astralis, T-side start.
Yeah, going to be over on that T-side. OpTic starting off on their CT side as we get underway with this one. Early days, as we dive in, but let's see what's going to be going down. Is this going to be a big uproar and a nice bit of confidence built for OpTic, or Astralis just up to their old tricks and shenanigans as they try and slip their way down ramp early? There's actually no one actively playing towards ramp as well, so they've conceded control. It's going to be holding for the choke points as Astralis are allowed to sort of poke and weave a little bit here, Hugo, as they push their way back round and assault through. Yugi gets info, but what can he actually do with it?
I like this setup though. OpTic have 2 players on the B site, and as long as Yugi can lock down Heaven, they should be alright, but that is annoying. Yugi dead in the Heaven, but Astralis won't commit towards A. They're going to walk down through lower. OpTic still with this double setup here, but how much can they really put up? They need some kills, and they need them quickly. Gay going to get overrun by Glade, who doubles down. It's Magist to find a shot as well, and Cajun coming with life into this round, but it may be too late, or maybe not. 3 headshots from Cajun, and the bomb down for Astralis.
Oh, that is filth as well. That is the revenge factor. Cajun finally starting to unload as he does some damage there. 3 huge frags picked up and left into a situation to actually make a mockery out of Astralis if he can somehow achieve this one. No kit though, Hugo. That is going to be the asterisk over his head, making his life so much harder. Taps the bomb. We'll try and force the face out, and Dupree will do him in. Takes him down with a Glock, and the first round goes the way of Astralis.
Yeah, the issue there for OpTic was, of course, they had the perfect setup for that, right? They give up ramp, they have 2 players on B, they assume, okay, Astralis, they have 2 options. If they take ramp, they either go down to the B site and they get met with a good crossfire from OpTic, or they go up to Heaven and Yugi tries to shut them down. But Yugi dies in Heaven, and OpTic just assume Astralis are going to hit the A site off the back of that, so they rotate one of the B players, leaving just a solo man down on the site, and that's Gade. So Astralis, they find a pick A, they hit B, adds in some confusion, and OpTic just get completely, you know, mown down out of that round, apart from Cajun with some big impact kills. Either way, good start for Astralis. OpTic, however, showing a bit of a difference in setup, something new. And now we have some pistols in their hands as Astralis, they play it slow. Scout on device, tagged early on by Cajun B, but it goes both ways.
Cajun. We're going to see if anyone is going to push up towards him. Towards outside. Config going to be repositioning as well. As they try and get into better positions. Astralis playing it very slow, very calm, methodical style of CS here coming out. Obviously trying to see if OpTic will overstep the mark, if they're going to get aggressive, try and go for an information play, for a push here and there, and give themselves the advantage in this big game of tug of war.
Ramp already seems to be the choice once again. Only Gade here, that's the issue. Yugi's close in rotation, but I don't think he's going to be coming in for support. Astralis, though, with a man outside, may want to split towards A, so this ramp push does definitely make questions be asked, but Config is going to drop Glaive outside. Now the A push coming in, but they haven't got the split. They're just going out through the door and through hut, sorry, as well. Config still shutting it down from main. Couple of kills here with a UMP, but Astralis worm their way towards the B site.
Yeah, Config's actually on a bit of a roll into this round, really, in terms of damage done already. 3 frags found. That just comes back on a Gade with the CZ in his hands. Over at the B-bomb site, going to be slipping his way around, try and see if he can find any slivery Astralis players over on that side. Does get the frag, but the trade comes in as Device was there, complimenting Zipnik's holding the extra angle. But still, it's a close round. Astralis have got the bomb planted both times, though. But it really goes down to the wire, though, of only one of the players on that T side remaining. Config somehow pulling out those shenanigans, though, with the backstab.
I like that, yeah. Catching a player outside, he calls that they were pushing for the A split, and OpTic actually rotated in time to have control towards the A site. The issue was Astralis dropped down vents. They took control of B. They didn't commit to the initial plan there due to that frag coming in through from Config, and of course the further damage with the UMP. Now though, just pistols. Config has that SMG with no armor, so OpTic not very well equipped for this round at all. Aim punch going to be a huge problem. Astralis already throwing nades into main. We have OpTic on the ramp stack here. A bit of a boost up for Gade as well. But even if Astralis walk into this, they won't commit with the bomb straight through. They can just get the info and fall back towards the A site. Device going to walk around the corner. A bit of a bait with the CZ. Doesn't matter if he goes down, but he gets one for his troubles. Trade in from Yugi, but now OpTic just start to fall one by one. The rifles overwhelming the armorless players. That will be a third round from Astralis. Pretty clean, pretty concise. And now OpTic should be going for the buy.
Yeah, more so what you expected there, really. Just simple stuff, being able to work together as a unit. You've got the range advantage, you've got the firepower, and it is just going to be dominant for you. But here comes the buy. And this is where it's going to be interesting. Where is Yugi going to be taking that up? What are we going to see him actually getting up to into this round? Everyone else going to be going for the safe play with the M4s being donned across the board. Starved a little bit for utility, though.
Yeah, not that it was over-investment in the second round. Again, forcing it is pretty natural on the CT side, but, you kind of have to accept the consequences. If you buy up fully second round after losing pistol, you're not going to have those nades on the CT side. Already, Config dropped, though, and early engagement's being taken from Astralis out through the squeaky door. Dupree going to drop Snappy, and out of nowhere, Astralis, 2 picks.
Yeah, that's big. Factors as well. We saw Yugi try and play a little bit close there, just towards T-Red, as he held in the close angle with the AWP, hoping they'd push towards him. No one even bothered to try and take the fight towards outside. Instead, they just bludgeon the CTs, demolish their way in. Now at this point, it's a 5 versus 3. Already only a minute and 12 into the round, they're about to plant towards the B site and lock that down. This could just be the save call right here for OpTic, really, just to try and hold on to those weapons, as it isn't really worth it.
That would be the safest bet. The issue is, even if you hold on to 3 players, you can't buy up fully next round. They're going to get a bit of loss bonus. They're going to get 2,900, but You can drop over Famises and then go for a couple of Famis buys, but there's not going to be any more N4s than they currently have unless we see some kills come through from OpTic. However, looks like a possibility. Yugi trying to hold on to the AWP. I like the bait play outside. He has his teammate Cajun sitting outside of the hell there. So Zipnix walks out. Yugi has his back at least covered, but he is being surrounded. They want to get rid of this AWP and pick it back up. Yugi, this is the star power we talked about. 3 kills from the back of Garage, but again, it will result to nothing. The round still goes away of Astralis, and you can see they stop hunting. They play it safe, and that's the better call to make. You don't want to just completely waste all your money.
At that point, yeah, after you lose 3 players, it's not worth it. You realise your economy is starting to take a bit of a dent. You're getting left in an awful position. Interesting, though, all of them just playing for the 1v1 there faced against Yugi. Could have tried to work as a unit. Obviously, we saw the flashbang to go for the final phase, but it was very delayed. So Astralis maybe just feeling a little bit confident to try and go for that one, but realised to avert any further crisis. Now, though, back into round number 5. Already a 4-round lead picked up for Astralis. Is this where things could change?
Well, it needs to here for OpTic. Astralis have already gotten a hefty lead considering how CT side of this map is. Cajun looks close in towards the door. Dupree scoped up with the AWP. Just trying to find a pick on the cross, and Snappy may give it to him as well. Smoke down, though. No opportunity for Dupree to exploit early on. OpTic not wanting to give away these picks, but Config aggressive as we know and love, but maybe not love. Glaive is going to take him down quickly outside. We've already seen his pushing towards the yard, but when it comes into such an important rifle round like this, that's maybe a bit too much.
Yeah, sometimes you could have cut your losses there, really. Didn't work out in the manner that he expected it to. So OpTic already down in terms of the manpower, although they have been able to at least give a bit of a dent to the Astralis players. Glaive's down to 34 HP, Dupree on 78, and also Magis sitting there on 87. So everyone's a little bit soft around the edges, but they've still got so much time and a lot more firepower to try and play this round out, as it seems like it will be a late round burst down towards the B bomb site. Yugi, though, not able to actively hold them back, and Device punishes him, slaps him with the AWP and says, I'm a better AWPer. I know how to find this initial frag. Hugo as they burst down towards the B site, and mayhem is caused.
Yeah, kills going all the way of Astralis as well. Gade, the only man to even put up a defensive frag, and it's just not going to be enough. Dupree having Devices back as he scopes out towards the vents, and that's the round. Really good from Astralis. After they get that pick to config, they throw the outside smokes, and the thing is, Yugi was in towards ramp, right? So not only are the smokes outside, but only one player from Astralis is committing to it. OpTic have no information because they've already lost their outside yard player. And Astralis just get not only an easy split down B from Glaive, but also everyone else just being able to push ramp without too much of an issue because OpTic have expected them to commit towards that yard. Nice work from Astralis. Lack of information from OpTic, but a lot of that down to losing the first man. Now it is just pistols.
Well, see what they can actually achieve with these pistols, if anything at all. Yugi, he's definitely a bit of a mean machine with the deagle, and he can lay him out if he's given that opportunity, but as of right now, he's really just not been given a chance. Everyone's just been pushing straight by. Cajun will go down as he gets executed by Magix. Device able to flick round and kill the AWPer once more as Yugi is slain. Dupree dealing out damage as Snappy will fall. One by one, they just crumble. They could be looking for a team ace here as well, but it'll actually be Device to double it up as he finds the follow-up frag there on Gade. And Astralis gets 6 rounds already. Now, these are quite rapid rounds as well, if you think about it. This has been fast.
I mean, yeah, let's look to that first buy round instantly. Seconds in, 2 picks for Astralis. They just take a massive advantage, and OpTic crumble after that and just try and hold on to their guns. Follow-up round, I mean, OpTic lose the initial pick again outside. Like, never have we seen a round in a favor of OpTic, at least when it comes down to these rifles. So, yeah, that's a big problem. OpTic either need to give a lot more, respect to Astralis and play a lot more passively instead of these continued fights, or they need to group up and go for an aggressive play, right? Put some players up towards ramp, try and force a kill in the radio room and then back off. Take an advantage. OpTic are just giving Astralis a lot of room here in the sense of, these picks always going the way of the T's. So rifles back up for OpTic, and a pretty good buy ahead of them considering all the utility and kits, but will it be what they need to find around?
Well, the buys come back through. Yugi is on the AWP at least, so he has that to try and give himself a bit of potential firepower. Device as well, though, obviously just been really flamboyant with a weapon this far. He's a sniper with a hell of a scope, And he's looking to take out a cop or two as they push their way around. Aggression comes through towards the outside as they're just hitting them hard and fast. Quite a high tempo play here as Magic goes straight in, makes them disappear as he hits some of the old school classics, and everyone is crumbling away. It's left into a 4 versus 3 already. The smokes are down, and Astralis have secured the A site and blocked off every angle for potential retakes here from OpTic. This is going to waste so much time.
Yeah, a nice read from Astralis as well. We've not seen Yugi actually play proactively outside. He's just been back towards the CT spawn or towards the red box. So Astralis know that. They know, okay, the only player we've really seen actually take any control is Config here. So let's just speed up the pace. Let's split main really quickly. OpTic won't expect this kind of instant pace into main, and they don't. They just get completely shut out of the round. Again, exit frags are great for OpTic. They're doing damage. They're taking guns away. But Astralis are 7-0 up, Jackie. At this point, kills are inconsequential. It's about winning rounds, and OpTic have none.
Yeah, they've got absolutely nothing going for them in terms of something stacked to give them a little potential edge. Device will actually barely scrape his way through that round as well. But luckily for Yugi, he still clutches onto the AWP. He'll be dropping over a weapon as well to his teammates. They can rearm themselves, and they're not in a great position. This is now 7 rounds on the trot for Astralis, and you wonder when OpTic are going to try and switch things up.
Just waiting for something from OpTic, some way to force a kill here instead of constantly allowing Astralis to take that mantle, take that 1v1. And even if you're forcing a kill from OpTic, you need to be doubled up. You need to have that trade potential in case you lose your gunfight. Device scoped up towards main, but again, Snappy playing reserve, not giving him the pick. Yugi again outside towards the garage, going to get dropped instantly. Zipnik's winning that fight from the top of Silo, and already Glaive is down in the B site. They have no idea. OpTic just don't have the information here, especially after that kill to Yugi. With Config dead as well, it's another situation where Astralis have 2 picks within 20 seconds, and that's not going to stop there. Device catching Gade, and every single gunfight is being won by the T side here.
Yeah, just demolition right now. Everyone's just been absolutely destroyed in the first few seconds of the round. Cajun and Snappy then need to remain in. Cajun as well. You can't help but feel like he's going to be kicking himself off the back of that one. Would have wanted that frag. Leaves him alive on 2 HP. It just comes down to Snappy. And he'll be snapped up fairly quickly by Dupree. You'd imagine that'll be quite a tasty little headshot there. Cheeky stuff.
Yeah, timing, unfortunately, for Snappy was watching heaven, but as soon as he looks away, he gets shot in the side of the head. Sometimes this game doesn't treat you well, and OpTic are seeing that. 8-0 up to Astralis. And Cajun B, he's going big. He's got his balls to the wall. He's got the auto shotty out. And frankly, I'm in full support.
Well, desperate times call for desperate measures. And you know what? The auto shotty is one of those moments. You just got to whip it out, spam it down, and hope you kill someone with it, really.
Yeah, close A is a good position for that, but Astralis going to be completely negating that by hitting ramp.
Yeah, bursting their way through. Gade is there. He's going to be hearing all the pitter-patter of their footsteps as they're charging their way round, but they're actually going to be fighting up against the main man himself in Yugi. He's a bit of a slick Rick. He can dance around. He's quite nimble on his toes as he's agile as ever. Gets himself up into a heightened angle now, above where the T's previously spotted him. As he just waits it out, Hugo. If he does go for the overextension, he might actually find a frag. And Cajun snaps the neck of Device there with that shotgun in one clean blow.
Nice attempted position taken, but now Astralis are kind of split throughout the map. They need to win their duels. Zipnik's very close. That bullet landed, almost giving Gade a haircut. And now Astralis may be considering this B bomb site. Magiska's here with the bomb. Rotation from Config as well to play at a range while Gade just baits them in close, and there it is. First kill from him with the UMP. Zipnik's not there to trade as well, just smoked off, forcing him to take a different angle, or at least wait for that smoke to dissipate. But without a huge amount of time, either he needs to make a play or Dupree needs to get something done. Gade, maybe a bit too confident there, will be going down. And Dupree actually catches a frag from the man in vent. So now things start to look up for Astralis and things start to look questionable for OpTic. They need to win the next fight. If they make this a 2v2, Astralis has somehow clawed this back into a good position.
Dupree drops down towards the bottom of the bomb site here, tries to find the first frag. That is crisp as he lands that shot on Snappy. And it is just into a 2 versus 2. Yugi and Cajun. Cajun trying to ram as many bullets as he can physically get into that auto shot to give himself some firepower to play with. As the smokes go out, he's going to sprint his way in. You bet he wishes he had a rifle right now in this situation. Nice use of the Molotov there as well. Actually could give them the edge they need, but they're being swarmed from angles. They look panicked, and Yugi goes down. It's up to Cajun. He's still only got that shotty, and he's not given a chance as he will be slain by Dupree.
that was amazingly played from Astralis. But not only that, big mistakes from OpTic. I mean, the push-up on ramp from Gade, just unnecessary. You have control of the ramp. You have the bomb down. There's no reason to do that. And yeah, just silly mistakes from OpTic, not being aware in a 5-on-2 that, or a 4-on-2 at least, that where Astralis have in terms of map control. And we've seen that, to be honest, quite a lot in these 9 rounds. We've seen Astralis take some very sneaky positioning. We saw, obviously, start of that round, Device somehow crept out of the A site, and Cajun only just caught him from the top of the hut. Astralis have been very good at getting into positions that OpTic do not expect, and that 2v5 is a great example of how. Again, pistols here for OpTic, but already just getting absolutely massacred. 1 player left up, and Jackie, I mean, these rounds are a bit too fast.
Yeah, too fast, too furious right now from Astralis, as if you blinked, you would have missed that one. I mean, that was just incredibly rapid, and OpTic still don't have a single round to their name. They have nothing to play with. The rebuy will come back through, though. They've got utility, you've got kits, you've got the AWP on Yugi once more, but I need to see something a little bit more active from him. I feel like it's far too passive, and it's just not working.
Yeah, we already talked about that. We saw him. He plays passive CT or towards old red box. Now, obviously, color changed. And every time, Zipnix picks him from silo or someone just sneaks down towards B and they have no information. Now we need to see a gunfight go their way. It does, but only temporarily. Drawn back by that of Magisk, and Yugi does win a fight. That's finally going to give OpTic a good shot because they have a man advantage, but they've thrown away worse situations. As Astralis now take control down towards B, OpTic need to be aware of the positioning that Astralis currently hold, because that's, again, been a constant problem for them. Snappy losing the duel, and Device even finds the pick to Yugi outside, and there you go. Already, a 4-on-3, sorry, back to a 3-on-2. How do Astralis always do this?
It's wild. The trade potential they have with this squad is absolutely ridiculous. Cajun, though, that's a big dink down on towards Glaive. Actually just offers to reface and rearm. Rearm himself there, goes for the peak, and doesn't work out well. Cajun, his booty was sticking out, and he'll be punished because of it. Config will actually be able to take down Magisk as well, and it falls back into a 1 versus 1. This could be the first round on the board for OpTic here, if Config can find this frag. Device, though, he's going to be the one going up against him. He's actually wandering very far away, going to be repositioning, suspecting potentially a play out towards the A site. He could try and go back through, go down vents at least with the timing, but in the meantime, Device can recover the bomb, and he's still got all day to play with.
This is the nature of Nuke through and through. Both players having absolutely no idea where their opposition is. The flank is so good from Config, but it is completely down to timing and whether Device commits towards B. It won't be the case. He's going up through vents towards the A site, and Config is there. OpTic surely have this round in the bag, and they do. Finally, something goes the way of the CT side, and they get there first. But again, Jackie, at what cost here for OpTic? If they don't follow up with this next round, they will get reset. They only kept 1 player alive. They have no money. They can barely buy up here. Look at the cash left in their pockets.
I know. This is not good. It's not ideal. It's the fact as well that, obviously, as you said, if Astralis win this, that's the reset. They're then going to be left in a horrible position. That could basically be 2 rounds for free at that point. Astralis, you're in the region of a 12-1. That's far too crazy. Yeah. In terms of a T-side half here on Nuke, they're just blowing them out of the water. But let's see. Yugi, no cash for the AWP, has the on the M4, but finds a frag with it this time around as he gets a little bit more active in terms of his defense, as he will kill Glaive.
Ooh, Config just sneaking past. That's so good from Config. Won't expect the 3rd player there, but he still does his damage and drops the bomb in the process. Ooh. Yugi, even repositioning, will drop Device, and now suddenly it's just 1 man left up. Yugi and Config, the 2 star players for this team, showing up. And that'll be OpTic's 2nd round on the board. They do lock 2 in a row. That is good, at the very least, right? I didn't want to see this game, be a complete stomp. I would have hoped OpTic can show us something, and now they've at least got themselves on the board to do so. The issue is, again, Astralis, with 10 rounds in a row before OpTic actually got their own rounds, Astralis just have so much money, so they can continue to rebuy for a couple more. And OpTic looking to keep this one going.
Yeah. It's a fact of confidence as well. They're going to be in such a good position, their heads are going to be held high. It comes down to the fact that Config and Yugi there had to just have audacious plays and just go wild in that one to actually even save a round for them. So it really does lead you to ask questions about how it will continue on throughout the rest of these days. Snappy as well. Stripped off of 40 HP there into the early round. Config looking, bobbing and weaving, trying to take a peek and see if he can get a headshot. There is a nade going to be rolled towards him, but luckily he backed off just far enough it wouldn't connect. Cajun as well finds that kill on Device. things are looking a little bit more active now. OpTic, not so defensive, not so turtling. They're not hiding away. They're actually playing a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, this is what we wanted from them, 5 rounds ago, 6 rounds ago. And not only that, but they're also switching up positioning. We have this aggressive play towards, outside from config again, actually working out. And now we have him on the stairs, playing that head angle. Just different setups from OpTic. But the issue is Astralis is still managing to make this close. 3v3, now back up for an advantage for Astralis as they take control of the A site. Gade down lower. Vents locked in, and Yugi forced off of heaven with the AWP thanks to that Molotov. OpTic coming in for the retake here, a man down. Again, things looking difficult. It started off so well, but how the mighty have fallen. Astralis locking down this A site, and with the current position of Zipnik's close in the corner, this is going to be so difficult for Gade to get up and actually find this kill.
Straight through the vent. First round actually does get the kill, but Magisk will trade it back. Ooh, Magisk as well. Had the angle there, shooting range as he shows off his aim in marksmanship as he just finds those frags. I mean, that was crisp. Astralis as well. 11 rounds now marked up. OpTic, they weren't really given too much of a chance to actually build that economy, so it was volatile, it was weak, and being fragile like that means it's broken. And once again, they're left into a horrible, horrible position. And this should be a 12-2 before things really even kick off again. Yeah,
another lesson here on what happens if you win a round but you don't keep players alive. We look at that one round that Config clutched out and he was the only man standing. So OpTic, their money's finally come back to haunt them here on round number 14. As Astralis, very opposite sides of the field, absolutely everything to play with. Device accidentally holding down both buttons on his mouse there, going for a medium throw. He's going to fail the Molotov, but Astralis still heading towards this B site, or at least towards ramp for the time being. Double entry already found. Zipnik's and Glaive doubling down. Zipnik's even finding a little bit more there. As OpTic try and get aggressive, they try and trade back these early picks from Astralis. But again, when you lose your man advantage on the CT side, you kind of get into this rut that OpTic are in where you feel like you need to trade that. And so one person will get aggressive and then you'll lose that kill. And then another person thinks, oh, okay, I need to trade that. They'll get aggressive, they'll lose that kill. And it's just a self-perpetuating cycle where OpTic are continually pushing up in these 1v1s and losing them. So Astralis, 4 alive, 12 on the board, and last of the half, OpTic have no money for it.
Absolutely nada. They're going to try and reinvest with what they can. 2 UMPs coming out there. You've got a couple of smokes. It's just not enough, really, considering... I mean, you weren't able to win the rounds there where you got the AWP out. They're in fantastic positions. You're not going to be able to win a round with a deagle and a mishmash of weapons you've been able to find down the back of the sofa, Hugo. This should be a 13th round for Astralis, giving them an absolute massive pedestal to play through when they do get onto that CT half at the second half here. Magisk gets the first elimination as well as Yugi goes down. From this point onwards, it should just be smooth sailing.
You would think so, judging by the previous 14 rounds, or at least the vast majority of them. OpTic just holding on for the time being. They've given up outside, and that's given Device a bit of a leeway to sneak in through main. Astralis still trying to commit towards this ramp here. A 1v1 taken by Dupree that will not work out. And an AK secured there by Cajun. He can throw over the UMP, but this is the outside split that we talked about. Device sneaking in through main and finding a double kill will secure the A site for Astralis. And with that, both ramp players, Astralis have full control of this round, full information as well. It would be a miracle if OpTic could pull it back, and I think it's a little bit too much to ask for. Gage shot down, and Astralis 13 on the half. Not a bad half, if I say so myself.
Yeah, that is tremendous, really. 13 rounds for Astralis there. On that T side as well, and they just crushed their way through them. I think this one is going to be a fast affair now as well at this point. Yeah. Especially if the pistol goes the way of Astralis. That is basically it, yeah.
I mean, if there's no bomb plant and there's a pistol for Astralis, OpTic don't even get rifles. The game's just over. So this is not the best of spots. OpTic are hoping for a bomb plant here because they are going to force regardless of the outcome. It's buy until you lose now for the current T side as Astralis. They are showing their dominance coming into this event, as they have been recently, looking great in terms of their form, and this map is no different. OpTic looking towards ramp, though. A bit of a faster play here on the T side. No utility to get anything done with it as they just burst their way through. Gade has found the opener, so Magisk down gives an opportunity for OpTic. Now, where will they go? Will they split the hell, or will they go down towards B? They go for the former. Device holding off towards the outside, but he's been spotted, and they need to isolate this kill. Config does, and now OpTic in a very good spot.
This is an awkward round to be in now for the side of Astralis in terms of the situation they're in. Yugi as well slays his way through Glaive as he'll slice him down. Xyp9x trying to connect that shot up on Config, but didn't quite finish him off in time. dupreeh is left to try and clutch it. And he will find the first initial headshot. Takes down Snappy at the very least. And everyone else is actually pretty low, and they're staggered. They're not close together, but he won't realize behind him Config was lying in wait. So OpTic get the most important pistol round they could possibly need there, as they will actually keep themselves going.
The game is still on, Jackie. You never know what can happen now. But Astralis will still be forcing up. OpTic cannot afford to be complacent for any of these rounds. At any point, Astralis could win. And you know, again, we're in a spot where, yeah, okay, if Astralis come in with this force buy and take 14, then OpTic are the ones forcing with their back up against, you know, the loss of the first map, or this map, sorry. So they really can't make any mistakes here. Full buy for OpTic, couple of SMGs, couple of rifles. They will look towards that outside control, very common for a second round, as you would expect Astralis don't really have the range to compete. That would being 3 CZ75s on the CT side, a Scout and a Deagle. That is the case. Already OpTic having snuck down towards the B site, and no information given to Astralis. They've seen the smokes, but they've not seen the players, so they don't know if that is just a complete fake for OpTic. That being said, Magiska's waiting for contact down on B, trying to play for the information on that headshot angle. As cajunb gets into position up on A as well, he can catch these rotations down vent, or even split down there himself if they need assistance.
Device. Open position. Oh, it's actually the Scout. He finds that frag as well. Didn't even realize that. I mean, that is just beautiful.
Not even through the window as well.
I know. Somehow he hasn't broken the glass.
Yeah, he shot. There was a bullet hole in the edge of the metal. He shot through the edge of the metal there. How did he get one shot?
Know, that is just ridiculous.
Okay, cool. And now Astralis have a man advantage. What's going on, Jackie?
That's such a weird way to open up this round. And the device factor, I guess. The situation we're now in, Yugi going to find that kill back on Glaive. dupreeh with the Deagle in his hand. Rips his egg clean off. As he just shows what caliber of damage he can unload. 50 caliber of paint. Snappy and Cajun, the only two people left alive.
You saw Snappy?
Snappy, I just realized he's only have one frag this entire game.
Really? Wow. Well, I mean, they only have 3 rounds, so it doesn't surprise me too
much.
Oh dear, that's awkward. 9 seconds left, that's a round. That's over. Device just dropped the bomb. Snappy gets caught out in the open. cajunb, in the meantime, is just dilly-dallying around in the vent room, in the toxic room, so he can't even protect his teammate from all the open positions on the site.
No.
Bit of mistake there from OpTic, and that will cost them the 14th round to Astralis. Again, we said it. If Astralis win any rounds, OpTic are forcing up to keep themselves in the game.
That could cost them the game, to be honest with you. I think that is going to be how it goes down, because that's going to be the reinvestment. Free rifles, it's only a light investment for SMGs, really, for Astralis. The rest of it's basically going to be a fully fledged, effective buy. I mean, you've got 2 AKs there. OpTic, CZs, Deagles, 1 UMP on Cajun. It's not enough.
Nor is 3 rounds, but let's see if OpTic can find any more. Outside they go. Already wrapped spot, Gade's dead to Xyp9x, so that's the first kill for Astralis. Big surprise there. Config, ooh, watching the wrong angle, but he flicks back in time. Does take down Device, actually winning that duel, but keeps alive on 1 point of health. So still not exactly a saving grace there for OpTic finding the trade, as Glaive should easily be able to secure another frag, although dupreeh spotted back in main. Snappy, second kill of the map, that's going to come through. That's important, as it gives OpTic a man advantage, but still with low HP, they are not out of the woods yet.
Ooh, Config as well, going to be punished there from Xyp9x by quite a distance, quite a few yards of pain. Xyp9x as well looking for a little bit more. Cajun will actually be able to take down Magis, but Xyp9x, he's all over the gaff. He's running around like a lunatic picking up these frags in rapid succession. He's already claimed 3 to his name, but by no means are they in a comfortable position, as it is a 2 versus 2, but the difference is Yugi and Snappy are on 44 and 34 HP respectively, Hugo, and they don't actually have a fully fledged firearm. They've just got these Deagles out, and Glaive. How lucky can you be there with the time, and barely gets by without losing his face.
And he gets the hell out of there as well. He wants nothing to do with that fight. Safe decision to be made. He wants to reposition, knowing he has the better weaponry. Doesn't want to give a Deag shot the way of OpTic, and instead Xyp9x falls down vents, but there's some more damage going the way, actually either way. In fact, it'll probably be a little more consequential to Xyp9x now with that rifle. As Yugi just tries to hold on towards lower B. The bomb is planted. Astralis haven't stopped that this time. Glaive trying to isolate a kill, but they don't know where these 2 Ts are, at least one of them. Snappy in the door, that can be opened and the Molotov can go in, securing his fate, locked into position. The Molotov finishes the job, and they know where they last saw Yugi. They know where he should be, but where is he? Xyp9x trying to find a weapon, trying to just scavenge guns on the floor. The door opens up, Yugi goes for the fight, and Xyp9x will win the round, sticks the bomb, and that's Astralis taking 15 by the skin of their teeth.
That's wild. That's a ridiculous ace from Xyp9x. What a drawn-out ace. I mean, the entire round basically taking fights here and there and there. Comes down to a clutch situation where he eventually wins it. That's ridiculous. Absolute lunacy across the board from Astralis really into this matchup, and it just goes to prove, I mean, you make one mistake for OpTic. They had some kind of a saving grace. They were given a little bit of a silver lining to potentially get themselves into a position to make this game close. As soon as they had that one mistake, Astralis were never, ever going to let them get into that position again. This is just where they're going to close it out now, Hugo. I mean, look at the battle of the buys here, really. Astralis are just so much further ahead. But Config, he knows how to rip heads off.
Despite all of the problems OpTic have been having this game, Config has seemingly not slowed
lethal,
down. He's had a couple of bad rounds, but other than that, he has just been constantly just trying to drag OpTic through by their hair. And what a good job he's done so far. Opened up into this round. Yugi looks for a deagle as well. The second man we kind of look to on this team. This Config has to be very, very careful. No one in main for him to find. Just got to watch out on that garage because there's still a man at the back line. It's Magist locking down. Dupree is actually up in main as Glaive went back towards EA site. And OpTic, got to be very careful about this next gunfight they choose to take. They need to be able to trade it, because if Astralis pull it back into a 4-on-4 again, it's that constant issue that we've been seeing of Astralis always being able to pull back from man disadvantages. Magisk, oh sorry, that's Xyp9x actually outside getting the frag. Magisk still has not been spotted at the back of garage, so Snappy drops Glaive, but there's a second man in main, and Magisk fires off with a crossfire. Astralis in a 2-on-3, but in the meantime, with a man down, it means OpTic have taken some control towards ramp. However, that has clearly not made a shred of difference. It's just Gade left.
Yeah, getting the 1 versus 2. This should be it, really. Astralis should take this in a 16-3 fashion and close it out. And there you have it, Magisk. We'll do a bit of a Magisk trick and make him disappear as the game is done and dusted. And Hugo, that is it. I mean, we talked a big talk. We expected potential from OpTic, but as we said, hope for a lot, but expect nothing. And there wasn't too much there.
I would say one thing is I wouldn't look too much into this game in the sense that, okay, OpTic got absolutely stomped, but it was versus Astralis. Let's see them up against a different opposition. That's what I'm excited to see. And of course we will now in that lower bracket, being knocked down to the best of 3s while Astralis look to get out of this group in style. And frankly, that isn't a huge surprise.
Thing is as well, right? Now if you imagine it like this, they're now in that lower bracket. We can actually see them go for a little bit of a lower bracket slog here, beat some potentially lesser teams, go up against some teams that maybe will be on their caliber because it's a very young lineup. It's still in its infancy. Then, if we see them actually make it back through and get into the later stages of this tournament, going on for maybe, say, you know, not tomorrow, but the next day, that's when maybe we could see OpTic actually a little bit more of their potential, because this is their first event with this roster, and this was their first matchup.
Yeah. Again, like as we've constantly highlighted throughout this game, it doesn't matter that they got stomped. It's their first land. You know, we don't expect big things from them. We know the skill ceiling this team can have just due to the players, and yeah, there it is, the bullet hole in the side of the wall.
Yeah.
We know the skill ceiling this team can have because of the players and their experience and what we've seen from players on this team before. But that being said, it's not as simple as necessarily just getting it in the first game, their first official match, them being able to topple Astralis, who have just been looking so good recently. So, you know, take of it what you will, or make of it what you will.
Because that's the thing, Astralis, by all means, are one of the most ridiculous teams we have out there right now. Yeah. You know, they're on form, they're in a position where if they can keep this up, they can actually solidify themselves as the best right now, and that's definitely a position to go against. So it's not an easy game. You have to hit the ground absolutely running, and they just couldn't quite get it together. There was moments of greatness. We saw little inklings of certain players being able to step up, but it's the fact they all need to try and get their heads together. But that might be something we'll see later on. But as for now, that is all of our best of ones finally wrapped up. And you know what that means? We're finally going to be delving into the best of 3s, as we'll be kicking it off with a lower bracket. Hugo and Snods will be guiding you through the action when we come back with that shortly.